Hey there, Groovesters and Groove Stars. Ridgely here with another exciting Groove Growth program. Delighted to have with me the founder of Babylon Arts, my great friend, Bridget Callahan. Bridget, thanks so much for taking some time out of your busy day to talk to us about the entrepreneurial journey. So,
My pleasure. I love these conversations.
well, take us back. How did you get started?
Well, I tell people I've always wanted to be an artist ever since I was a zygote. If you don't know what that is, that's like around a fetus level or before
Okay.
fetus. Um, and, growing up as a child, being really creative, I loved crayons, I loved coloring books. Actually, I go back in my memory. My dad actually got me into an art class when I was in second or third grade. It was an art class during the summer. So it was like a summer camp. And then my mom got me violin lessons. So there was some music training, right? And then I played the flute later, but it was always the visual arts that I was in. And so when I was in fifth grade, I was living with my mom and my stepdad, and I came home and I won this award. I came second place in this art contest at school. And my mom was all proud, but my stepfather just said, "Oh, you'll never make money as an artist." And
Oh,
I was just
oh.
devastated. And I said, wow, I'm going to prove him wrong. And so got good grades in school. I got a degree in art in college. And right out of college, I started working as a graphic artist, working for an art director and learning the ropes. And the second job out of college was working for an event company. And that's where I learned slide design. And this was way back before computers. And so what I loved about artwork, and especially like slide design, is you get this big image that's up on a screen. It's like a billboard, and you get to create that, and it makes people think, and people get inspired. And artwork just was just so much fun for me. It's like, I can make money at this. And so I was making money every year, making more money, working at different companies. And then finally, I got laid off from the job of my dreams. And I started my own company, and that was in 1999. And I call it Babylon Arts, and there's a story behind that. But I didn't want to do Bridget Callahan graphics. That's not creative. And just never looked back. I made more money working for myself than I ever did working for a company. And I'm doing what I love.
Mm-hmm. And what were the early days like? What was it like, if you could take us back when you first started? Because that's a pretty big leap of faith, right? Every entrepreneur has to go through that, especially coming from a position that was secure, a job of your dreams, so to speak, to OMG, it's all me now. What was that? Take us back to that a little bit.
So the early days of my own company you're talking
Mm-hmm.
about. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I was actually preparing for it before I left the company. I think there was like 7 years of, like studying how to be a good freelancer. And so I took accounting classes at night, and I was trying to understand the business aspects of it, because I didn't major in business in school. I didn't have any foundation of how do I be an entrepreneur, but I knew, you know, I worked at one company where they had these job numbers. Every project that came in, they put a job number to it. I was like, what's that number mean? And I would go into accounting and ask them all these questions. And I didn't realize that I was building up to be able to work for myself. And so I'm really good at systems, even though I'm a master. I'm really good at systems and putting together, things that just make things flow better. And I just got off a call earlier before this with a client. We were showing them the new designs for their package design. And we've gone through several iterations, and we're going for that wow factor. And the previous designs just weren't hitting it. And it's like, okay, I think this might be it. I'm not sure. And I showed him, I was like, oh my God, I think I love it. Can we just do this little tweaks, and can we see it again? So it's dialing in what they see as the winner, but also realizing, are we meeting it to the client, to the customer's approval? Are they going to buy this product because of this packaging? So it's early on, I didn't have the conversation of how to sell art, right? I would get on a call, and they say, yeah, we need a logo design, and we really like the red color, and we want it to look like this. So I really didn't know what questions to ask. I would start drawing as they were talking. And I'd show them the design, and they go, it's okay. They didn't really like it. And then when I learned, I took some training, some personal development, and I learned how to listen. And so I stopped drawing when they talk, and I just write down the words they would say. I'd write down the words they would say. And then when I show them the designs, I would repeat the words that they said. And they go, oh, we love it. I was like, oh, that's the key right there.
That deep listening, but you were listening. I find that very, very interesting because obviously I think listening is such a huge, very important and often overlooked skill. You were listening with a purpose. You were listening very specifically. Now, was it to capture the client's intent, to make sure that you could sell them, a little bit of both? What was your thought process behind that?
Well, once I learned the communication and the listening, then I started asking questions, and I developed this this reputation. Like my clients would say, wow, working with Bridget, it's like she reads your mind. And it's like, I would like them to think that, but really I just ask good questions. And so I would ask them questions like we just talked about, like, who's the target audience that we're speaking to? So I want to make sure that I speak into their listening, so I'm concerned and care about, is this conversation making sense, right? And so when I get those cascade of questions answered, and then I come back with the design and then repeat kind of what they said, it's like they can't help but love it because it was their idea,
And so, but largely what you're doing is you are kind of reading their mind through the questions.
Yes. And I'm also teaching. What's funny is I'll teach them, like if I'm doing a logo design, most people don't understand what really makes a great logo. And I'll ask them, I say, what are the top 3 favorite logos that you have out there? And they don't even know what to look like. And I said, did you know that the FedEx logo has an arrow in it and it was specifically designed in that logo? They, what are you talking about? I said, next time you look at the FedEx logo, look for the white arrow. And when they see that it's in between the E and the X, they're like, oh my God, now it pops out like this, sore thumb, and they can't unsee it, right? And then there was the logo. Bank of America has had iterations of their logo forever. And they had this one logo that had a BA, but the A created an eagle. The shape of the B, the 2 circles of the B created an eagle. So that's, their American eagle, right? And it's those meanings and the subliminal stuff that logos have that, people don't realize. There's one website that's like the top 15 worst logos. I'm not gonna tell you what it says, but it's pretty nasty what some of those logos came up with. Like, they didn't see this. Are you kidding me? And they put that up as a logo. Oh my gosh.
Interesting.
So it's understanding that. So I'll teach them what to look for. And now I have a client that sent me a picture of a logo that they saw at a jewelry store in Mexico. And he says, I want a logo like that. I want it to look like that. And I go, wow, I'm really happy with you that you're looking at logos now and you're seeing what you like, and it was like a conversation we had a month ago. And now he's like looking around and seeing things differently. So I love teaching and love expounding on the value of art and how they can see it in their world.
I'd love for you to speak a little bit about the value that you gleaned from taking those accounting classes, taking those systems classes, preparing yourself before you dove off the deep end, so to speak.
Well, you got to remember, I'm still in this back end head of proving my stepfather wrong, right? Like, I'm going to succeed. So I've got to figure out this business component of accounting, or how do I bill, or how do I track, and then the other thing that is kind of a weak point is following up. Like, let's say you invoice them and they haven't paid you in 2 weeks. Are you going to follow up, or are you just going to let it go? You want to get paid, and you don't have to be this like collector that's an a-hole. You can be a really nice person, but how do you follow up? And what I discovered is I was afraid they were going to say no. And really, they just want to get complete because I gave them a product. It's appropriate that they pay for it, So it's really, there's a lot of things in business that is like, it's a mind thing, you're stuck, like you're not thinking of it out of the box. And then other things that you just maybe need a little more education or someone to speak to it a little bit differently. So it's like, that now makes sense to me.
Yeah, for sure. So in your journey, what would you say are the 2 most important characteristics for a successful entrepreneur? What have you seen?
they're open-minded. I mean, and I say that because, a lot of people come out with this product. I remember this guy was an inventor and he had this product and it was really cool. And I was going to help him with like a brochure or something, but it's like he had no idea how to get it to market and he had no idea where to go. And it's like, you got to have an open mind and then really start looking at who are you going to align with that gets this to be successful. So that I think open mind is one. And then another characteristic is, I think, never quit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Don't give up.
That is, by the way, of the top two that I see over and over and over and over and over, never quitting or perseverance is absolutely always in the top two. Always.
Interesting. Yeah.
The other one is paying the price. People being willing to pay the price. Are you willing to make the sacrifice? Are you willing to do what it takes? That's usually way up there as well. And so tell us about, as you're growing your business, start out, you have those moments of, oh my gosh, and then suddenly it starts growing. And was there any point at which you found yourself thinking, wow, I need to learn new skills now as my business grows?
Yeah. I ever since the 2000s, when I discovered personal development, it's almost an addiction for me, because I realized I could break barriers that were unconscious for me before. And so inside of that personal development, there's this thing called business development and learning new things like this online marketing. Oh my God, there's so much involved. And do I really need to I hate Facebook. It's a waste of time for me, but do I really have to do this? And yet having an open mind and realizing, well, this is where we're going. You got to ride with the times. And how can you can totally turn it off. It's like I have some people that hate certain things and they hate the internet and everything. Well, then go live in Siberia.
Right.
Throw your phone away.
Yeah. It's interesting you would say that. I a number of years ago made the determination. So, okay, Ridgely, here's the deal. If you're going to be in the online space, whether you like learning new things or not, or whether you feel like you have enough degrees on your wall or not, you're going to have to keep progressing because that's how fast the space moves. And I literally had a little bit of a breakthrough over this past weekend, when I've been resisting for about 4 or 5 months, really playing with AI. Because it was just like one more thing I got to learn, just like that one more thing category. And finally I said, Ridgely, you just need to shut up and just do this. And I just went in and I was accepted into the Google Bard beta test. And here I am playing around with the AI. And I realized, you know what? Artificial intelligence is largely just an enhanced search engine is what it is.
Exactly. I call it Google on steroids for sure.
Yeah, that's basically it. So if you look at it as an enhanced search engine, well, I'm already using those right now. And as a matter of fact, I built an entire business around helping people get rankings in search engines. So maybe this is not that far. Maybe this is not that weird. And you know what? It was remarkably easy. Now it's kind of like fun.
I, in the back of my mind, I wanted to talk about AI because learning about it and then starting to go in there, because I'm one of these people that's really good at asking questions to Google. Like, oh, how do I do this? Well, just Google it, but they don't know how to ask it. I know how to ask it because it's long tailed word, sentences or, have some keywords in there. It's not just like, how do I find a dentist? How to find a dentist in San Juan Capistrano that caters to middle-aged women. I don't know, something like that. Right. But when you get that, detail of what you're asking, and then you go into like AI and ask, oh my God, that's a game changer. I was playing around as like, I need a model. I need a model of something, like I need a model, like a training module series that spells out slide, SLIDE. And I said, create me a model in the terms that create this model for slide design. I gave them a couple of paragraphs from my website, just copied and pasted in there. And they said, and I need the keywords, spell out the word slide. Boom, 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 boom. Oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
Then I said, give me 3 other versions of the words with those letters. And so I got like 4 different words for each letter that I could choose and see, and that fits better than this one. But it's like, how many hours, days, weeks would you Google or even come up with that to think for yourself to find that? And I found it in less than 5 minutes. So when I think of this, I'm excited. And so many people are afraid of AI. They're thinking it's taking jobs. No, no, no. It's creating more jobs. I think it's creating more opportunity. It's our brain up a level to another level that where we can think even broader. And
Mhm.
it's taking that pain away of this mundane stuff and really putting in the keys to our business and where we're going. I got to tell you, this is funny. I took this little boot camp on AI a couple weeks ago, and he was walking us through a digital version of ourselves. And he says, put in your disc profile, put in this profile, put in that profile. And it's like, the only profile I know is my mind type.
Mhm.
And I also know what my human design is. So I put both in there and it described me to a T. And then I said, because I'm, dating right now. And I said, well, who's my ideal man to spend the rest of my life with? Boom. It's like, oh my God, I'm in love. So, okay, write me a profile for Match.com. Boom. I've been struggling for 9 months to write this thing and put it up because I'm afraid it's not right. And when it wrote that and it was like totally me, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm posting. Like, so AI has so much availability. And when I shared it with the teacher that I was doing, because we were in a breakout room, he's like, oh my God, I didn't even think you could do that. I was like, yeah, you could do anything.
Mhm. Yeah, no, and I can tell you that I'm excited to play with it too, and just to have a little bit of fun as well. Everybody I belong to, as you know, several very, very high-end masterminds. And
Mm,
the conversation in those masterminds is pretty much either you do this or you are going to be left in the dust by the
mm,
people who do play with AI and learn how to use this and you learn
mhm.
the tools. So
Yeah,
awesome. Totally with you on that. So for
yeah.
everybody that's listening, you heard it from Bridget, you're hearing it from me. If you want to stay in online marketing, you better get hip to using AI. Okay, just saying.
Well, and
And
it's
look
it's
what you
it's
can do with
already
it.
showing up in the Microsoft products, and it's going to show up a little bit more, like Microsoft Word or Excel. There's going to be areas where you can ask AI or have them, give you some answers. Like imagine, the things that you can accomplish so much quicker because of that. Then what's
Oh,
what's
yeah.
what's possible, you know?
Well, and I can tell you that Google is about to come out with Bard, BARD. And I
Mm,
know somehow I got on the list. I don't know how I got on the list, but I'm in the beta right now. And Google, the Bard is the AI tool that will fully integrate with all G Suite products.
SEO. Yeah.
Yeah, all of it. So it's like, wow, okay, cool. I better learn this one too. So switching topics, tell us about something that happened to you, a setback, a catastrophe, a disaster in your business, something, and what did you take away from it?
Well, I'm just still coming out of it. So I've been basically doing everything to keep my business alive. And my father passed away, and I received an inheritance of over $100,000, and I just poured it into the business. I had an employee, I had some other, workers that worked with me, and I needed to pay salaries. That money was gone in 6 months, gone.
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, do I close my doors now? What do I do? And a lot of it was, you know, just not from the economy. I mean, it was a delayed reaction from COVID, but part of it too was just me experiencing personal depression and not recognizing it.
Mhm.
And so now I'm talking about it and I'm doing something about it, and I'm not committed to staying in this situation. So what am I taking away from it? I'm not giving up. I was ready to close the doors. In fact, my tax accountant last week says, I think you need to close your S Corp. Then what do
Hmm.
I do? Well, whatever you do, you can't do what you were doing because the tax people won't let you, if you start a new business. I'm like, what kind of rule is that? You know? So, what do you do? Okay, I'm going to talk to someone else. I'm going to, network out there. And I know, like you and I had a call the other day, and I got to make a difference for you and helping you with something. And I just felt so good after that. It's like I
Mhm.
do have knowledge. I do help people, and so it's just not giving up and falling in love with the stuff that you do and the people that you get to interact with. I
Well,
think.
especially when you think about how much time, if you're a small business owner, I mean, you only work, I know we only work half time, 12 hours a day, right? That's and people, I was having this conversation literally yesterday with one of my daughters who said, "Do you work every day?" And I'm like, "Yeah, pretty much." And she of course has a job. And I said, but let's keep this in perspective. When we go on a family vacation, we have to plan it around your job,
Mm.
not around my job. My job is wherever I want to be, whenever I want to be, with
Mm.
whoever I want to be there, and I can take it with me. And that's to me the
That's the
amazing thing.
brilliance.
Yeah, online marketing and being in your own business is you get to be flexible and mobile, and other people who are in more conventional jobs kind of don't understand that. It's kind of like, that's kind of weird. Why are you always working? Well, you say I'm always working, but in the middle of the day, if I feel like it, I'm going to yoga. And after lunch, if I feel like it, I'm taking a nap. And you're definitely not doing that at your desk, right? I mean, there's a certain amount of freedom that is really pretty cool.
I hear this, yeah, 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 yeah.
Well, it wasn't so much that, it was more of I just found it interesting that hard work had this kind of negative connotation. And to me, it just doesn't. Like, what am I
Well,
supposed
I'm like you. I love work. I get my life out of work, and maybe I'm addicted. I don't know. I mean, I do other things, but I get my life out of work. I went on a cruise, and we talked business with people, and I loved that. Being on vacation and talking business was something I didn't think I'd like, but I love it because I love what I do. And when I share it, like I'm sharing with you, I share stories and I share things like they've never heard that before. So I get to enlighten them, and they get a new perspective on the stuff that I do, and it maybe even enlightened on the stuff that they're up to.
to?
So I think it's that interaction that, especially as entrepreneurs, we become more familiar with the people we're working with, like their family. I don't know. I feel that way, right?
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I think that's exactly right. You feel that way, and um, you not that you take on other people's concerns, but they become part of your reality, right? If they're team members, and one of your team members has, like one of our team members has a grandmother who's very sick. It's like,
Mm.
I wonder what's going on. I wonder how they're doing. You know, you have this. There is that family space that gets created
Yes.
with the people that you're working with that is super nice.
Yes.
Now, there's another aspect of your journey that is quite fascinating, and that is you've been practicing martial arts for a very long time. When did you
Yes.
start?
Those are my diplomas, or if you could see them, two of them are Japanese, and then the third one in the middle is English, because the founder of our organization came from Japan. And so the earlier black belt, so I'm a third degree black belt. So the earlier certificates were in Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says, no, we're in America. It's got to be American. And all the black belts, they like the Japanese, but whatever. So that came from a need to protect myself. Growing up in a family that, had issues with drugs and alcohol, there was a lot of unsafe things happening. And there was times when I didn't feel I could protect myself. And I would actually fantasize. I'd play games where I'd fantasize that Armageddon happened and I'm the only one left on Earth. And I have to survive. I got to go find food, or go kill a rabbit or something. And I would make little forts out in the backyard, imagining this, because it was like all this fighting and arguing. I just didn't want to be part of that. And so when my friend was telling me she's going to go to a karate class, like, oh, I've always wanted to do that. And so I followed her that one night. 3 months later, she quit, and I just kept going. I think part of it was because the guys are really cute, but it was just, it really paid into my belief system, like the idea of Buddhism and the meditation and stuff that we do in karate, and just understanding like the Budo, and the understanding of like samurai and what they were about. That whole philosophy was just really intriguing to me. And so I've been doing it for 35 years. And I actually lost a job because I couldn't work that weekend because I had to go to a special training for karate because I was getting ready to test for my first black belt. And 2 weeks later, I came back because I wasn't available to work that weekend. They fired me. And here's the thing, we were working for 2 months straight, 7 days a week, 15, 16-hour days. In fact, towards the end, before we were going to do a client review, because this is an entertainment company, they actually got a hotel right near the office so we could go shower because we were there overnight. And I was just like, I'm doing this. I'm not missing this. And so that's how important it was to me. I lost a dream job. I was there for 5 years because, I wasn't willing to forgo that training. And so there's a certain thing you learn is like, what are my values? What's important to me? And honoring that. And sometimes, it does clash with what other people want or think. And so I think that parallels to like, what is your target audience? Who's your target client? Who do you want to work with? Who's your favorite that you want to just target on that? And understanding that target client and really focusing in on that is really hard. And I'll share another story that's funny. I was in a marketing class through SCORE, and the teachers actually eventually became my clients because I helped them with their slides. But they said, well, who's your target client? And I said, well, anybody who will pay me. And I sat with that. For about an hour and a half. And then they said, it's someone that you work with, is your favorite. It was a client that was paying me every month because their in-house artist quit. So I became their in-house artist basically for 2 years, and it was great. But I realized when I said anyone who will pay me, it's like, wow, I'm a prostitute.
A business prostitute.
I had to sit with that. I was like, no, that's not good.
No, that's not good. And what'd you come up with after that?
Well, I nailed into my target client. And actually, you're always looking at it. In fact, this last 2 weeks, I worked with this one client who's a 7-figure business who helps businesses reach 7 and 8 figures. And she's doing a webinar, just, like you and I worked on your webinar slides. And it's a complete different game changer than most of these webinar slides and what they look like. People think they have to look like that because they've had success in it. It's like, I'm talking like meteoric success, and they just don't trust it. But I worked with her and we dialed in the imagery and stuff because she works with, very particular people that aren't business people. Okay. They're more into the healing or the metaphysical stuff. And so she kept saying, no, that's too business. No, I don't like that image. And we really had to stretch ourselves to find the images. And by the end, she was like, I love it. She loved it. That's my favorite client.
Yeah, for sure. So I love this question. I always spring it on my guests. If you could go back, do that time machine and go back 20 years, what would you want to say to Bridget, the business person of 20 years, based on 20 years of experience? If you could speak to younger Bridget 20 years ago about your business experience, what lesson would you like to share with her?
You don't know as much as you think you know. And I'm speaking about saving money or being mindful with your finances. I mean, it would have been nice to have a mentor, and I didn't, not in the finance, or I didn't reach out to that. I figured, I'm just going to do the best I can and make the money. And every year, I did good, but the savings wasn't there. I wasn't investing. Mm-hmm. And to create that 5-year plan, that 10-year plan, and work with someone to create that, that's what I would say to her. Mm-hmm. A new business person, they don't even think in those realms. I just got off a call with a client that it helps people invest in money that, in his target client is someone that makes over 100,000 a year. So he doesn't want to work with the 50,000 or 60,000. I was telling him, you might want to set a seed for them though. Because if you told me I can't work with you because I only make 80,000 a year, it's like, well, but if I make 100, can I work with you now? It's like, I want to be part of that club. Mm-hmm. So there's this need and want, because what you're saying is like, I need that. Not a scarcity thing, but really just speaking to their wants and needs. And so I guess, that's what I would say.
Nice. Love that. How about this? 3 resources that you feel would help the budding entrepreneur or even the seasoned entrepreneur. 3
Feed your
resources.
cat before you go on a podcast. That would
Right.
be.
All right.
Well, I got to tell you that the one that's just shot to the top of the list is AI.
Mm-hmm.
That is a big resource. I don't read a lot of books. I'm not a very good reader. I like to look at pictures, but Nancy Duarte is really an expert at presentation design, and I love her stories and her trainings and stuff. And a third resource.
Nancy Duarte, is there a particular book or a particular thing you would recommend that she does?
Yeah, I have all her books. Like one's called Illuminate.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is Slideology.
Oh, nice.
I think Slideology. And then Resonate is another one. All about presenting and what if you're going to use slides, what makes the non-boring slide kind of thing. And a third resource. I really love masterminds. I love being part of a mastermind. And I think I have 2 other girls that I meet with every week. And it's just the 3 of us. And I'm part of several masterminds. But I think not knowing about masterminds in the past or, 20 years ago, like that, I think is a key resource of mine because it gets me out of my head. Most of us were working on an island, right? And we need feedback and we need, other ideas. Like I could learn from their mistakes, right? Or their challenges. I can help them. I can see something in their business that they can't see for themselves, and they can do the same for me. So that would be my 3 resources.
Awesome. So as we're wrapping up today, what would you want to share? One nugget from Bridget Callahan, founder of Babylon Arts. Oh, wait, you got to tell us the story behind what's the name. What's about with the name Babylon Arts? Okay. Can't leave that open loop there for everybody.
Yeah. Well, so when I was in college, I was an art major, and everyone thought art majors are just skating through school. I was like, no, I'm in it for the long haul. And but I also love sports. I was on the basketball team in college. I was on the softball team, and I just love sports. But they had intramurals, and that was like, recreational sports. And they had in the fall, they had women's flag football. And so what I would do is I'd recruit all the athletes from the sports that were out of season. And I formed a team, and we went undefeated for 4 years. And I named the team Babylon because I was in art history, and I heard this song. There's a group from the 70s called JoJo Gunn, and they had this song called Oh Babylon. And I was listening to it one day and I was singing it, and it's about a girl, I really don't even know. I just like the song. I was like, I'm going to name my team Babylon. And, other people had weird name teams. You had to have a weird name. And so I thought, wow, 4 years undefeated. That was one marketing success. I'm going to name my company Babylon Arts. And I remember my boyfriend at the time, he says, yeah, it means that you speak a lot and say nothing. And I was like, well, isn't that kind of marketing anyway?
Interesting. Well, good for you, undefeated Babylon. I love that. All right. Last nugget, one nugget you want to share with the budding entrepreneur, the seasoned entrepreneur, the somewhere on the road entrepreneur. What would that be? Wisdom from Bridget. Congratulations
for choosing that road. I didn't even know what entrepreneurship was. I just fell into it. I was never turned on to that term. I didn't know what it meant. But for you to see, I don't have to go with the status quo. I don't have to work for a company. I can do this on my own. And there's help out there. And congratulations, you fall in love with your work, because it's the love of your work that's going to pull you through those tough times. And it's going to really make you shine in those vibrant times. And when you do what you love and you make money at it, that's really living.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Bridget Callahan, thank you very, very much for your time sharing your wisdom and your journey with all of the Groove Star community. And I look forward to many more interactions as we continue to grow together. Thank you.
Thank you, Ridsley.